On today's show, we're off to a scenic fishing adventure on one of Minnesota's most overlooked rivers. Big fish await you there if you have the patience to catch them. Next, Minnesota's most curious mini cabins. Dan Pauly builds a legacy of recycling. And our Minnesota-bound classic this week is all about fall fishing Chisago style. Those stories and more next.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's Select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Raven and I welcome you to the show. You know, while we tend to brag about our lakes in Minnesota, we often overlook our rivers. Well, coming up is a river adventure, a remote river. But Travis Frank took a float.
Not all adventures are created equal. This one begins with figuring out if we can even get to where we want to go. We have to get that canoe and this boat onto the river.
On Minnesota's Big Fork River, a remote wilderness adventure awaits anyone willing to work for it.
Do we need food, guys? Do we really need food?
Joining me are two good old fishing buddies, Mike Lambrecht and Matt Hennen. Mike's fished here before. For Matt and I, this is our first adventure.
That's not your typical boat launch.
The three of us will do nearly anything to catch a big fish.
You guys doing anything? Oh, what were we thinking? I don't think you have to worry about anyone coming to your secret spot, Mike.
It's always fun to try to test what you're made of and see what it's, what you can accomplish.
Oh! Oh! Made it. We made it. We made it. I don't know if we're getting out, but we made it.
Smooth, real smooth.
All this for a fish.
I might be stuck. Yeah, I'm stuck.
Or so we hope.
It's gonna get a little bumpy here.
One rock after another. This little river shows us who's in charge.
Nothing to it. I don't really have to come down there and unhook this thing with my hand, do I?
Finally, we're fishing. In a boat, even Huck Finn would shake his head at.
Yeah, we had to look real weird.
Gosh, this looks fishy right up here.
The Big Fork River winds 165 miles north and drops nearly 250 feet along the way.
There's dedicated campsites between every landing. One campsite. So you have to plan accordingly.
We hope to find ours before nightfall, but right now, there's something way more important on our mind.
Just fishing in general. As long as I'm doing that, we're in good shape. Target species is muskie. They always bite when you least expect it.
Here it comes, here it comes. He's on it, he's on it, he's on it. Oh, he just missed it. He just missed it. Come on back. Come on back, come on back, come on back. My heart is pumping. He's right here. You got him? Oh, you got him, you got him. Take him, take him. You got him, dude. That's a monster. That is a monster. That is a monster. No! Oh, no. Oh, man. That was a monster, dude.
I think I might have slipped up there.
Something's changing, Matt. I can feel it. Got him, got him. Right there, right there. Muskie!
Sometimes it's the work that you put in. It's kind of the whole deal.
By muskie standards, this is not a giant, but by the journey standards, this is a trophy. Woo! Thank you, Big Fork. Out here, the fish of 10,000 casts waste little time between bites.
The really neat part about it is these fish are not pressured.
Exactly why we busted our tails to get here. Nice job. Woo! Miles from nowhere, we set up camp, telling stories from the mighty little Big Fork. Each of us knowing today's success had little to do with a fish. Tomorrow we write the final chapter of this journey and find one more hurdle we must overcome.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers, Ice Force, Star Bank, Radco Truck Accessories, and by Evinrude, the official outboard motor of Minnesota Bound.
Time now to continue our float trip down the Big Fork. You know that river does have some big fish. Let's see if they can catch them.
At the turn of the century, loggers in northern Minnesota floated millions of pine trees down the Big Fork River, eventually landing in lumber mills in Ontario, Canada. Before that, Sioux and Ojibwe Native Americans laid claim to this stretch of pure wilderness. But today, it flows quiet and still.
We have not seen another soul.
With yesterday's memories still thrashing in our minds, Mike Lambrecht, Matt Hennon, and I pick up camp and set out to complete our remote fishing adventure.
It's a nice little river. It's probably averages 30, 40 yards wide. It's really pretty. It's clear water.
To anglers like us, the Big Fork River just might be Minnesota's greatest hidden treasure.
It's full of fish of all sorts.
You're surrounded by wilderness the whole time. It's a little different than, say, some of the stuff around the Twin Cities area or a lot of other areas. There aren't really very many homes along it. There's not a lot of private property. It's mostly state forest between the Couchiching and the Chippewa National Forest.
Where did he go? Here comes one. Here comes one.
Yeah.
Oh, muskie in the net!
Perfect Big Fork specimen. We'll get her back in the water. Can't describe it. When I see one coming, it makes the knees rattle, no matter what size.
Nice work.
Real passion for that fish.
Obviously the goal is always to, we're on a fishing trip, you catch some fish, but if that's what all you're looking for, I think you're gonna leave a lot behind.
For us, this trip is about a journey through a wilderness of unknown. Testing our skills against these raw elements, and if only for 2 days, disappearing into God's amazing creation.
Here comes one. Got him!
Oh, got him, dude. Nice fish.
Nice.
That is a dandy.
Spilt my coffee. It's pure chaos when it happens.
Fish.
How about that? It's a heck of a fish, Mike.
Another fine Big Fork muskie.
Yeah, no doubt.
On the figure 8.
What a trip this has turned out to be, huh?
That is a big fish.
The funnest, I think. There she's gonna go. Under the boat.
Well done, sir.
Awesomeness.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Look at this, hey. When I lose the shakes, then I'm gonna have a huge garage sale.
Get out and and try stuff like this, you know. Give yourself a challenge, and I think you might surprise yourself what you can do and the amount of enjoyment you can get out of it.
Just remember, once you get in, you still have to find your way back out.
Coming up, they may be small, but these cabins pack a lot of history. History in the very woods they're made from.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Connecticut.
You know, in Minnesota, we love our cabins, right? Well, coming up is a story about a very unusual cabin made of very unusual materials. Bill Shirk has the story.
Those things we covet, we protect. Without history, memories simply disappear.
You're looking at my history right there.
Suppose that's why Dan Pauly's house looks a little like a living museum.
I think it just kind of pulls at people's heart. There's something about it that's kind of magical.
Dan gets a bit sentimental when it comes to collecting and protecting, but his outdoor hobbies could never get in the way of his work. Where Dan marks, measures, cuts, and most importantly, hammers away to recycle a little piece of Minnesota history.
I think it was just the creative side of me that was just having fun and be able to use wood.
To understand is to follow the brick road into Danland, otherwise known as the backyard.
Well, at the point when I wanted to create it, I know I wanted to have a sauna.
See, Dan builds, and he wanted a backyard building. So he did just that. Just look.
When it came to the roof, I just thought, well, I'm just going to break all the rules that I've been taught over the years. I'll put the gutters on it just because of always having all the different reclaimed materials. I actually took 2 different windows off of an old structure and joined them together to make the round window in the back. And then the crooked chimney, I'm not sure how that came up, but I figured it needed a playful touch to the building. I just started bending the pipe up to the top, and then that's where all the magic started.
The magic, Dan's quirky and suddenly coveted backyard buildings.
It just kind of happened. The whole thing just kind of came together for me.
Each structure handcrafted from literal pieces of Minnesota history. See, Minnesota's first grand structures might have been barns. Many constructed 100 years or more ago, with lumber often cut right on the property. Some of our state's oldest barns slowly give way to time. Some eventually crumple and die. Dan decided the barns and the barn wood deserved a better fate.
It's like our virgin lumber that we logged off of this country. It's just necessary to try to save it the best way that we can.
Dan started dismantling old barns. He used the wood for simple frames and furniture. He ended building on a legacy much, much bigger. He now builds his rustic way cabins one piece at a time.
The general shape of the building is always the same. It's just me taking my eye and be able to take the different products and introducing them into the building.
I suppose that's why his work now displays in front of Minnesota's biggest crowds.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, a 5-year-old or an 85-year-old standing in front of the building, it pretty much does the same thing. I get a lot of happiness out of you know, just making people happy when they look at the building.
Tom Fee understands.
You can tell the difference between someone who builds something and someone who crafts something.
Tom bought one of Dan's buildings for backyard double duty. A sauna during winter months.
And then in the summer, we were going to have it be something the grandkids could enjoy as kind of an outdoor playhouse or fort. These are his art projects, and he wants us to appreciate that as much as he does, and he wants the experience of it to be flawless.
Dan's work reflects that.
Just being creative and be able to use the reclaimed wood. And that's just my palette.
Up next, the leaves are turning, and that means one thing in Minnesota: time to go fishing in the fall.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Borderview Lodge, Ellsworth Creamery, and by Totem Resorts.
Time now for our Minnesota Bound Classic. You know, autumn for a lot of folks means falling leaves, but for some of us it means fall fishing. And guess where I went? Autumn means change on the water. Gulls gather, geese are resting. Somehow I think I should be sitting in a goose blind here instead of a bass boat.
It's chilly out here.
Autumn means change in a fishing boat too. When it's brown like this, what's that mean?
Pretty much dead.
When autumn comes for bass anglers like Chris Lidke, it's both a beginning and an end.
Fall fishing to me means peace and quiet. Peace and quiet, and a lot of very willing fish that are going to bite.
It's a good one.
Summer is over, you know, winter is approaching, and they're really starting to put the feed bag on to get ready for the winter time.
Oh, all right. Look at his tongue is all raw from eating something, probably crayfish. A chill wind blows, leaves begin to fall, but the big game on Chisago isn't football, it's big bass.
Oh, this might be a good fish. Uh-oh.
What?
This is a big one.
Oh,
I think
it
this is a
is.
real big one.
All right, we needed one. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Nice fat one.
Oh, boy.
That is a nice Chisago Lake largemouth. Look at the gut on that one.
All of this fishing fun, a 30-minute drive from downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota.
It's a cool thing, isn't it? Yeah, I love it up here.
And Frankie DeSinka loves it here too, here on the St. Croix. Frankie is the Frankie of Frankie's Live Bait, a Chisago icon.
This is the nicest time of the year, you know, where the water temperature is just getting right, the trees are perfect. It's the end of the summer and the beginning of, I believe, 40 days of the best part of the year.
Hey. Ron struck gold, a smallmouth bass.
All right.
Ha-ha. This is what the river's famous for. On this day, the valley of the St. Croix was beginning to fill with gold. Gold leaves, gold fish.
I love them. There's not a better fish than the smallmouth. You should never be able to kill one. And it's the most beautiful fish there is. I believe it is.
Now there's a new definition of autumn splendor, catching golden bass amid golden leaves. A lot of fun fall fishing. If you haven't tried it, you ought to, huh? Well, that about does it for us. Remember, introduce a kid to the great outdoors. I'm Ron Sharon, of course, the star of the show. Who's trying to get my attention here is Raven, huh? Yeah.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. For more information on these stories and more, catch us on the web at mnbound.com.